Hello and welcome. My name is Rachel Coletta. I am a psychic intuitive and an energy healer. And in today's video, I wanted to share with you about clearing the energy in your home or in your physical space. Because we're coming up on that sort of back half of October time where the veils are thin, I thought that this would be sort of a timely and fun topic to cover right now. Of course, I think that this information is useful and really powerful to know and have on hand no matter what time of the year it is. Anytime that you move or relocate to a different space, I think that clearing the energy is so important, and creating a climate of alignment and attunement to your physical space so that you're working with your physical space and your physical space is working with you. So these techniques can not just be applied to your home, but also other physical spaces that you regularly occupy, such as an office space, such as a car. It's, again, a really good idea to clear your physical space anytime you get a new space, and also anytime maybe something really major with a lot of emotional energy or tension has happened or occurred in that space. And then also just as a maintenance, as a method of maintenance, every so often, although that's usually to a much lesser degree. So I'm going to share with you here several techniques and methods that you can use to clear your physical space, and also give you a little bit of a story from one of my experiences with clearing my physical space and what came up for me and how I worked with it. So let's get started. To begin, I want to mention and really make sure we lay the foundation here with the understanding that everything has consciousness. So, obviously not just human beings have consciousness, animals also have consciousness, non-human animals rather have consciousness, because humans are a type of animal. And we often know that, plants, flowers, trees, the earth, the sky, the elements have consciousness, but also what we think of as inanimate objects also have consciousness, and you can think about the various materials that go into constructing and building your physical space. And many times we're talking about wood and, various materials, various building blocks that do come from things that we know have consciousness. So it's really important, I think, to understand that not only do in your physical space, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, the cabinetry, the light fixtures, not only do these aspects have consciousness, but they all collectively come together to create a collective consciousness of your physical space. So that's really important to understand here before we dive a little deeper. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of clearing the physical space, I want to mention that it is important to first, before you just kind of burst into a space and start clearing, I believe that it's really important to first attune to that space and get some sort of energetic communication or feedback about what that space actually feels like, looks like, smells like, tastes like, sounds like, any knowings that come in about that space. Before you just grab cleaners to start, cleaning a kitchen, you first want to see what you're dealing with. Is there grease that needs to be cleaned? Is there dust? These all are going to ask for or beckon for different tools and different approaches. So the number one important thing when you go to tune in to a physical space, and this could be a new space, it's really helpful to have these skills or this procedure if you're also, if you're looking at places. Let's say you're going apartment shopping or house shopping. It's important to be able to notice these energetic, not necessarily physical signals as you start exploring, so that you can see what feels like a good match to you. You can know what you are dealing with as you're looking at these spaces. So the most important thing, and this also, of course, applies if you haven't done any space clearing and you've lived in a space for several years, but you're like, I would like to clear my space. This makes sense. You can do the same thing for a space that you've already occupied for an extended period of time as well. So you want to bring in the energy of your heart space. And that is because our heart space has this incredibly powerful and transmutive quality of love, of connection. And this is a space that, when it's opened and activated, is not a comfortable space for lower vibrational energies. So if your heart space is activated, this sort of acts as a type of almost, fail-safe as you're connecting. And it also, just literally the activating of your heart space begins to cause reverberations that clear the space. And it also will allow you to receive information through this this vortex, this funnel of your heart, so that you don't need to have really strong judgments or fear that gets triggered. You're able to filter that through the wisdom of the heart. So what I recommend doing, if you're going in to feel into a space before clearing it, is you can put your hands over your heart chakra, which is in the middle of your chest. Take a few deep breaths and feel into the emotion and the vibration of love. You can call to mind the image of a person, a pet, a place that just fills you up with that energy of love. Find that feeling, that energetic vibration, breathe into it and hold it. And as you hold it, just imagine your heart chakra like a funnel, just gently opening and spinning open a bit. And you can continue to keep your hands, you can be that sort of quirky person, I am, that has their hands on their heart chakra as you are looking and exploring different physical spaces. If that's not comfortable for you, that's okay. You can just hold that either in image or in your mind's eye, or that feeling of that heart chakra being open and that feeling of deep unconditional love. And then I also like to use my palm chakras. The palm chakras are great at picking up energy. So, for example, about a year ago, after my husband and I had sold a house, we were looking for a really temporary, like a 6-month lease of a place to live before we transitioned into living into an RV full time. And so we were looking at various apartment complexes that just had very short-term leases. And I would do this as we went apartment shopping. I would feel into my heart space, and I would just use my palm chakras to feel the walls, touch the walls, the floor, the cabinets. And here you don't necessarily need to be looking to pick up really specific information. You're just looking for a general feeling. What do you feel? Does something feel good to you? Does it feel a little off to you? So that's the most important thing to begin with, right? We're creating a litmus test. We're creating a center point. How does something feel? And again, you can do this in a car, in an office space. You can do this in a space that you've already lived in for some time. Just go around and actually open the heart chakra, attune to that vibration of love, then open the heart chakra, and use your palm chakras to just touch and feel notice what you're picking up on. Is there areas where energy feels stale or stagnant, which is not a bad thing. I mean, any space, these things are going to occur. But, also, does it feel good? Does it feel really funky and off and almost like, rubbing a cat or dog against the fur? Does something just feel completely against the grain to you? Those are kind of the big signals that, either some major clearing needs to be done, or that the space, if you're looking for a space, might not be in the best alignment for you. As I was doing this, as we were looking at various apartments, we did find a space that it overall felt very, very good to me, but there was definitely a lot of stale and stagnant energy. And I did notice there was some echoes of the vibrations of anger that were there, and some echoes of the vibrations of just of unconsciousness, like tuning out, numbing, that existed there. So I knew that I was going to want to clear this space pretty thoroughly before we actually moved in. And I really wanted to communicate with this space. And to me, it didn't feel like there was a lot of aggressive negative energy there. It felt like a lot of the energy of staleness and neglect. And so what I did to begin to open up I deemed that this was definitely a safe communication to have. So to open up that channel of communication, if you feel energy that feels uncomfortable or really not okay to you, that might not be the best time to open up this communication unless you feel very secure in your intuitive gifts and your ability to clear energy. And if that's the case, you can either, reach out to a professional who can help you with energy clearing, or you can move right to some of these clearing techniques that I'm going to give you here in just a few minutes, and just start with those before, really opening up to that communication if that feels out of your comfort zone with where you're at. So for me, this felt very safe and comfortable to open up that communication. So what I did was created a ceremony, and that is really important too. So not just bringing in that heart energy, but before, we get into these specific techniques, creating ceremony and creating intention. So it's not that we're just communicating and clearing, willy-nilly. We're settling into a specific intention. What kind of a space are you looking to co-create with the consciousness of the space's energy? What are you looking to bring to this space? What are you looking to work on, to heal, to integrate while you're in this space? Get really clear on this. And I actually have a video that I will link below that is specifically about intention. It's called The Secret Ingredient Intention. So if you have not watched that already, I'll link that below, and you can watch that to get a little bit of a deeper understanding about that. But you want to bring in this intentionality. So what I did was I sat in meditation in a room of this apartment, and I just, with my hands, touched the floor and let this space know what my intentions were. This was going to be a temporary housing for me for a period of time before I was looking to move on into, this different thing. Here's what I wanted to grow into, to work through. Here were some of my strengths. Here's how I wanted to work with that space to co-create for its greater evolution. Here's how I wanted to help that space. Here's the skills that I have, and is there a way that I could use my skills to help this space and its clearing and its evolution? Here are some of the struggles that I was facing, some of the healing and the integration that I was looking to work on while I was in that space. Here was the light that I felt that I could bring. I express to the space my gratitude for the opportunity to coexist there and to communicate and to be able to have that space to bring these things through, the things that are my talents and gifts, and also the things that I was looking to work on. And I let it know what sort of stewardship I wanted to offer, I was able to offer, and that I was open to hearing what else that it might need. So creating that that openness for that communication. And as I sat in that space and asked, it to communicate with me, I remember I looked up, and I hadn't noticed this when we had first looked at the space, but the ceiling was just covered in dust. And as I looked up, the space told me in a very sort of, sorrowful, sad way that the people who had lived there before, many of the people who lived there before, had never looked up. And I got all of these flashes and images of people, just kind of watching TV, checking out in front of the television at all hours of the day and night, and just very, a lot of numbing behavior that was going on. And so I let the space know that throughout my 6 months of living there, it was honestly such a huge job to be able to accomplish in just a couple of days or a couple of weekends, that I would spend a certain amount of time every weekend working on cleaning the ceiling. That I wanted it to know that I saw it and that I fully recognized it. So that was something that I felt that I could bring to that space. I could bring a visibility, a place where it could be seen. And then it also let me know, I asked if there was anything that it would like me to do to help it in clearing. And as I was sitting there on the carpet, I just immediately noticed that there was like this crunchiness to the carpet. And it said that I want you to clean the carpet, that it's been cleaned with this really sort of intense toxic chemical cocktail that happens in between when each resident comes in. And I asked how it wanted to be cleaned, and it said with pure filtered water, a little bit of vinegar, and lavender oil. So before I moved in, my husband and I rented a carpet cleaner, and we used pure filtered water, a few capfuls of vinegar, and a few sprinkles of lavender oil to just clean all of that chemical residue off of the carpet and help use that lavender to refresh and clear that toxic buildup. So if you're willing to listen, lots of times you will get little intuitive nudges or inspirations or ideas about how to work with the space. And I think developing that connection, again, before you just jump in and start offering your cleaning and clearing willy-nilly, is really, really important. And it helps establish this congruency and this cooperative nature with you and that space. All right, so now I'm going to give you a list of several different ways that you can specifically and directly clear the energy of your space. And this isn't the sort of thing where I recommend doing everything on the list and just throwing everything out of space. This is a time for you to use your intuition, your inspiration. If you are still in a process where you're developing and awakening to your intuitive gifts, that's okay. You don't have to receive really specific instructions like I did in this example that I just shared. Follow what you just naturally feel pulled to do. That's literally following your intuition. What's your gut feeling? What do you feel inspired to do? What sounds fun or just feels right to you? And it can definitely be a combination of a couple of these things. So again, feel into that heart space and use your intentionality. Set specific intentions before you just start clearing. So one of the first and most common ways that we know to clear a space are smudging, smoke, and scents. So we can use smudging, which is also a way of using smoke. Sage, there are many different types of sage: white sage, desert sage, rosemary, sweetgrass, cedarwood, whatever you feel pulled to, or if you feel pulled to do some research and find out about the specific properties and match a property to your intention or to what you feel like that space is just sort of craving or asking for or might need, you can certainly do that. Or you can just go with what feels right. But through the act of burning, through bringing in smoke, there is a transmutative quality. It's literally transmuting the energy, and it is pushing out energies that are not in a synchronistic vibration with this clearing intention of smudging and of smoke. And then also scents. So lots of smudging involves scents as well, but you can bring in, like, for example, this lavender essential oil that my space was asking for, and it's clearing. Other essential oils, incense sticks, burning candles. These are different ways that you can use scents to assist in clearing. So another method would be sounds, and this can be things like singing bowls, rattles or shakers. You can use clapping. Lots of times you'll see, like I've seen on TV shows and stuff, different intuitives, when they go into spaces, they'll be sort of clapping to clear the energies. Sound literally creates a reverberation that clears energy, that transmutes and pushes out energy, and then creates an openness for that energy to be filled with your direct intentionality. You can also use your voice, use singing or chanting. You can bring in music. You can use various hertz music that specifically aligns, again, with the intention that you are looking to bring in, or that just feels good and right for you. Movement and dance. So again, using various hand mudras, using dance, moving energy like we would in Tai Chi, actually moving the prana, the energy that is in the house with your movement. If you are infusing and overlaying intentionality into your movement, it is so powerful. And again, this is creating reverberations in the energy through that space with you as the epicenter, that's reverberating out and pushing out, guiding out energies that are not a match for your intention, and creating an open space for you to imbue the energy of your attention there. So crystals would also be another way that you can clear energy. And this is such a big topic. I'm not going to cover a bunch of different crystals and tell you exactly what to use. Again, I'm just going to say, go with your gut. Go with what feels good and what feels right for you. Some great stones or crystals that help to absorb lower vibrational energies would be black tourmaline, shungite, obsidian. These are great examples. clear quartz is a great amplifier of energy. So if you're going to use one of these absorbers of lower vibrational energies, you can absorb that energy. And then again, you can use clear quartz to imbue your intentionality, to amplify that into the space once it's been cleared. But really, whatever crystals are pulling to you or you feel inspired to use would be great to use here. So cleaning is another great example. And in order for cleaning to really be clearing of a space, I think it's so important to be using, natural, organic, biodegradable, non-animal tested, non-toxic cleaners. You don't want to be cleaning and clearing a space and then bringing additional toxicity or the energy of, violence or disease into your space with the cleaners you're using. So one of my favorites is simply using, white vinegar. You can dilute 1 part vinegar to 1 part water. You can put in a few drops of essential oil. That is a great cleaner, or you can certainly go to a store and pick up a natural cleaner. So before I move into a space, I like to open all of the cupboards. I like to open, all the fridge, if it comes with a washer and dryer, all appliances, and wipe down the walls, wipe down all of the surfaces, and give everything a really good cleaning and clearing. And this is a great time to also mention that you want to pay particular attention to areas where energy gathers or doesn't flow. And where this happens are where right angles come together. You can see how energy, it'd be really easy for it to get bottlenecked as opposed to in a rounded or circular space. So corners of walls, where walls come together, corners of our walls come to ceilings, in cupboards, places where there are these right angles, on shelving units, in showers. Those are definitely places, usually there's a curtain over a shower when someone lives there, or maybe it even comes with a curtain when you move in. These are places where energy can stagnate, behind the toilet. So you really want to make sure that as you're doing your clearing, whether this is specifically through your intentional cleaning or through these other methods, that you're paying attention to these spaces where energy can get stuck and accumulate and stagnate. So the last suggestion that I have here is bringing in the energy of the elements. So this could be the energy of fire. Maybe your space has a fireplace and you can light a fire and you can specifically set the intention for that burning energy to be cleansing the space. You can, of course, again, light a candle, you can light matches, you can light incense, and bring that fire energy to the areas that you want to clear and to the space in general. Air. So another great way to clear the energy in the space, this is something that I love to do pretty regularly as well, is open windows, open doors, turn on fans, and get the air moving. That is a great space clearer too. Water, you can do spritzing. So again, you can take some nice, clean, clear, spring water or filtered water, put it in a spray bottle. Again, you can add in essential oils, you can put in flower essences, you could even put crystals in the bottom of the spray bottle to infuse that water with that energy and just kind of spritz the corners and spritz around your space as well. Earth. So this is bringing in the elemental energy of earth as a clearer. This could be bringing in plants, flowers. You can even do some soil sprinkling. So you can find a place where the soil feels really good to you, somewhere out in nature, grab some of the soil and just do some little sprinkles in the corners or in certain areas of your home, likely before you do cleaning. And then as you go and you clean, you can vacuum or dust these up after they have had a chance to do the clearing. And lastly, light. Light is a great clearer of energy as well. So again, this comes in with, opening the windows, turning on lights, maybe bringing in some salt lamps, which also has some of that elemental energy too, or other lights or lamps. And again, setting that intention to let that light be a clearer of the space. Those kind of dark corners that don't really get a lot of light, or maybe there's not actually a light switch in a certain closet or, something like that, actually bringing light into the space. So to reiterate, I'm not suggesting that you don't feel overwhelmed and don't do all of these things in any one space. Pick out those 1 or 2 or 3 things that feel really good to you personally and that feel really good to your specific space. That's going to be what's going to be the most potent for you and for your space. And just like personal bodily hygiene is important and personal energetic hygiene is important, the energetic hygiene of your space is very important as well. So, doing some of these practices, quasi-regularly, again, if there's been a lot of emotional energy that you feel like has transpired during a particular period of time, if you just kind of feels like your space needs it, if you've recently gone through a large transformation or shift, if you've been somewhere and you feel like the energy there has been kind of funky and it might have come home with you, these are all good times to re-clear your space. And at least for this video, that's really all I have to share about clearing your physical space. If you would like me to do a video about why, more in-depth information about why this energy can show up and attach to certain spaces, about how those portals are opened or closed, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to do a video on that information specifically in a little bit more detail. But also let me know in the comments below, which space clearing method are you excited to try? Or if you do a lot of space clearing, do you have other ideas or suggestions that you would like to offer that we can all learn from and, incorporate ourselves? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up button and give it a like. And if you are not already subscribed, you can also hit the subscription button below and the bell button right next to that subscription button so that you'll be notified when I come out with new videos. And also, I wanted to share with you that in the information box below, in the notes below, that I will have a link available for you that gives you access to a free workshop that I did that is all about connecting with your spirit guides. So if you are looking to connect more deeply with your spirit guides, if you have not already connected with your spirit guides and you'd like to foster and develop that connection, this workshop is going to give you the tools that you need to do just that. And I even have at the end of the workshop a guided meditation to help you create that space and that connection directly with your spirit guides. So I would love to give that to you. Again, it's completely free and that link will be in the notes below. Until next time, sending you so much love. All the best. Goodbye.